Hi guys, welcome back to a new video on the channel. Now this is my look back at the Championship results of the weekend and how they affect the Championship table. Now I've had a little think over the last sort of couple of days, and I thought rather than just do sort of quick fire videos, I'm actually going to do this one. It's going to be a little bit longer because I'm going to go into a little bit more detail about the games individually. I've got my laptop obviously here, so I'm going on to the site that I always use. So there'll be a little bit of me moving sort of back and forth, and obviously with the sun coming through my window, it's going to be changing the way the video looks. But please just sort of stick with it at the moment. So we're going to start with Barnsley versus Wigan. This game has finished 0-0, but it's also quite controversial as in the 71st minute Wigan had a red card as well. What does this mean for both teams? Well, it's not a great result, as I'll just move my hand across to where it says standings. So this game has left Wigan in 15th, and it has left Barnsley bottom of the league. Obviously, it doesn't help Barnsley at all, as they're still a few points from safety. If I get the exact points, they're 3 points from safety, so they can still survive. It's still not completely out of their hands. And for Wigan on 54, they're 11 points from safety, but obviously, as we know, there is that 12-point deduction hanging over their head, so a win in this game would have done them a massive favour. Going on to the stats of the game, I'll just bring those up. We'll find a way of doing this a lot quicker, but obviously, like I say, we're just testing all this out at the moment, so apologies if it's not brilliant. So, if and when the stats decide to load, so it's 51% possession for Barnsley and 49% for Wigan. 13 goal attempts by Barnsley and just the 6 for Wigan. None on target from Wigan and 5 on target for Barnsley, which probably constitutes why this game finished 0-0. Now, in my predictions, I think I went with a Barnsley win, but it's not an ideal result for either side. He'll now go on to Tuesday and see what result they can both pick up. But the 0-0 probably suits Wigan a bit more, as it's another point towards their points total, but for Barnsley it doesn't really help. But it's still very, very congested down at the bottom of the Championship. So we move on to the next game, and that involves Blackburn Rovers and West Bromwich Albion. Now, for supporters of Leeds United, this result is perfect for them. Also for supporters of Brentford or Fulham, this result is huge as well. For Blackburn, it probably doesn't help their playoff aspirations. It's starting to get very congested there as well, but a win would have been better for them. For West Brom, you could argue it's another 2 points dropped. And they must start be getting a little bit nervous now. I think a few weeks back, they were casting teams aside, and they beat Derby the other day, and everyone thought they found their winning way again. They've come up against a tough Blackburn side, but they've let themselves down in a way. And the worry is, if they were to drop into the playoffs, there's no guarantee that they would win them. I mean, if they did and Brentford were there obviously to get second, you'd have Fulham, you'd have Nottingham Forest, you'd have West Brom, and you might even have a Cardiff or a Millwall. It's going to be very, very hard for them to win those playoffs. So you could argue that result has not done either team a favour, really. So we look at the standings after this game. Okay, if we bring those up, and there we are. We have obviously West Brom still in second place on 81 points. They're 3 points behind Leeds. I'll explain about Leeds in a minute. And Blackburn in 12th on 60 points. Just 4 points behind Cardiff. But can you see Blackburn getting 2 wins? Possibly. It's doable. But again, the draws don't really help. When you look at Blackburn's last 5, they've lost 3, drawn 1 and won 1. It's not really the best form. For West Brom, they've won 3, drawn 1 and lost 1, so a bit better form there, but it's still not going to be enough. So You've got to look now, obviously, Brentford are on 78, so 3 points. It's getting very, very close at the top as well. So we move on to the next game. Apologies for all this clicking. I'm trying to make it a bit more information for you guys. Hull City 0, Millwall 1. My laptop decides to wake up. It's not at the moment. Again, it's a really good win for Millwall. It takes them a little bit closer to those playoff positions, which is where ultimately come the end of the season they want to be. For Hull, it doesn't really help their relegation worries. They're still not in the best position. Yeah, my laptop isn't going to let me look at the league table, so I'm going to go on to another game and see if it does. I think for Millwall, it's a very good away win. It's certainly what they needed to help them going forward. Here we are, the league table has now come up. Thank you. So we have Millwall on 62 points in 9th, so that's just the 2 points behind Cardiff in 6th. For Hull, it puts them 22nd and into the relegation zone, into the relegation places. So, okay, the 1 point from safety, just behind Charlton, and that game we'll come on to. But they've done really well, Millwall, and for Hull, it's not the result they need. We look here at their last 5 games. They've lost 3, won 1 and drawn 1. That's not brilliant form, especially when you're fighting relegation. For Millwall, obviously, they've won 2, drawn 2 and lost 1. So that's a bit better form for their promotion push into the playoffs. And we wish them the best, as we do all the other sides. So we move on to the next game, guys, and that is Bristol City versus Middlesbrough. And it was Middlesbrough 1, Bristol City 3. A really comprehensive win for Bristol City, just as they were starting to tail off. And everyone was thinking that maybe their playoff hopes were over. They find themselves on 61, so they're only 3 points off the playoffs. So still very much in their hands for Bristol City. For Middlesbrough, that really isn't the sort of defeat they need. They're on 47 points, so they are only 2 points from the relegation zone. So as we're going to see when I go through the table at the end as well, it's not looking great for them at the moment either. They need to start being more consistent. We look at their form. They've lost 3 and won 2. It's not the best return for a new manager, but it's also not the best return for any side that are battling relegation. So we move on to the next game. If my laptop decides to work, probably going to end up having to get another one. It's Preston North End versus Nottingham Forest. Now, this game, interestingly enough, is a game that could easily be a playoff game come the end of the season. Preston find themselves in 8th, Nottingham Forest find themselves in 5th. Forest are on 69, so decent little pointage. It's probably looking more like playoffs for Nottingham Forest now. For Preston, 62, so they're just the 2 points off of Cardiff in 6th, and there is a whole bunch of teams that's battling it out for that 6th place. You could probably argue that Forest, Fulham, Brentford and West Brom are all at least guaranteed playoffs, unless they have a really disastrous run towards the end of the season. So with that being said, obviously Preston, they can still, like I say, sneak into those playoffs, and it's certainly going to be interesting. They've drawn 2 and won 1 and lost the other 2 of their last 5. For Nottingham Forest, it is 2 draws, 2 wins and a loss. So again, slightly inconsistent there, and probably not the best for Nottingham Forest as they look to cement themselves in the playoffs. So let's have a look. And the next game is sort of the on the beach game, you could say. It turned out not to be. I predicted 0-0. How wrong could I be? This finished Queen's Park Rangers 0, Sheffield Wednesday 3. So for both these sides, as I brought the table up here, they're both in mid-table. QPR on 53 and Sheffield Wednesday on 55. Both those teams will contest in the Championship next season. There's no fear of relegation as far as I'm concerned. I mean, they're 13, nearly 14 points clear of the drop zone, but they are far, far away from the playoffs. So it is going to be mid-table mediocrity, but certainly Sheffield Wednesday are finishing the season strong and hoping to do like they did at the start of this season, mount a challenge at the right end. For Queen's Park Rangers, it's been a very poor season. Again, they would have had aspirations of being in the top half, but those have not come to fruition, and they found themselves in the bottom half. Okay, they're safe from relegation, but it could have been a lot worse for them. But probably not the best result, as if you look at their form, they've lost 4 of the last 5, but it's a good time to do that when you're safe in mid-table. So we move on to the next game, and that is Charlton Athletic versus my team Reading. Reading have taken a 3rd-minute lead. We were given a penalty, and George Puskas, one of our handy strikers, has decided to score. So it's a solid win for Reading. We literally, have done what we need to do. We are safe now, 56 points, so we're 10 points from the relegation zone. Now, okay, you can argue there are still, 15 points to play for, so we could get dragged into it, but I think with the run, like I said, that we're on, we've won 2, drawn 1 and lost 2, so that's not too bad. For Charlton, that's 3 defeats in 4. They've drawn and won the other game, so it's not looking great, to be brutally honest with you. But I think for Reading, it's great for us. We're going to finish the season in mid-table, hopefully, and we can move on to hopefully having a better season next year. For Charlton, obviously, they're still in that relegation fodder, and that's a bit worrying for them. So, moving on. Derby County. Oh, hello. Yes, Derby County versus Brentford. I apologise for the Derby bit, but Derby County versus Brentford. 3-1 to Brentford. Fantastic result for them. As I say, they're getting so close to Leeds at the top, and it's like it really, really could happen that Brentford could sneak into 2nd place. I'm not saying they will. As I keep saying on this channel, I know I keep apologising for a lot of things, but I don't want people to take me the wrong way. I look at things open-mindedly. I'm not saying that West Brom are a poor side or they're going to mess up, and I'm not saying that Brentford are going to get 2nd. It's just it's looking good for them. So they're certainly on a roll, and fair play to them. For Derby, that's not the best result, but I'm sure they'll bounce back. Let me just check. Yep, that's all those. So we just move on to the last 2 games of the weekend. Stoke City 2, Birmingham 0. For Stoke, that's a huge result in their relegation quest to survive, or their quest to survive, not their relegation one. But I think that's like I say, for them, that's a really good result. For Birmingham City, it's another defeat, but then again, they're in that little on the beach team, that little club of group of teams on the beach. Their season's over, not going to get relegated, not going to get promoted. So for them, it's not really a massive defeat. But the last game of the day is Swansea 0, Leeds United 1. And from what I'm hearing, 1 point could literally be the difference between Leeds United being a Championship side next season and a Premiership side. Literally 1 point, and they will be promoted to the Premiership. And I've been saying it in many of my videos that I've done that Leeds have been absolutely superb this season, and they thoroughly deserve to be in the Premiership. I know people have their own opinions on Leeds. I've said that all season. But for me, they really do deserve to be promoted this season. And let's hope, if you're a Leeds fan, of course, that they get the result they need and they get their promotion. Yes, they can still mess it up. It's not set in stone. But it would take one monumentous mess up. But fair play to Leeds. For Swansea, yeah, they're still in with a small shout of the playoffs, but it again for them would take something serious to change, but I'm not too sure it can. Alright then guys, that completes this video for today, just reviewing all the games from the weekend. So just before we go, I'm going to bring up the Championship table, and we're just going to have a quick look at where everybody is. And this is the point my laptop won't load the Championship table. Thank you very much. If anyone's got a free laptop they want to send to me, feel free. Right, okay guys, all jokes aside, let's get into this. So, of course, as we know, Leeds United are first on 84. West Brom are in second on 81. Third is Brentford on 78. We have Fulham in fourth on 76. We have Nottingham Forest in fifth on 69. On 64, we have Cardiff City in that last playoff place. And then in seventh, we have Swansea on 63. Preston in eighth on 62, along with Millwall in ninth on 62. And then in 10th, Derby on 61. 11th, Bristol City on 61. In 12th, Blackburn on 60, and that's where the playoffs stop. The reason I'm saying that is because Reading are in 13th on 56. Then it's 14th is Sheffield Wednesday on 55. 15th is Wigan on 54. 16th is Queen's Park Rangers on 53. 17th is Stoke on 49. 18th is Birmingham City on 49 as well. And 19th is Middlesbrough on 47. 20th is Huddersfield Town on 47. 21st is Charlton Athletic on 46. And then the three teams in the relegation zone at the moment are 22nd is Hull on 45. Then 23 is Luton on 44. And 24th is Barnsley on 43. So there you go, guys. That is the championship table. That completes the roundup of this weekend's championship results. Hope your team did well. And all the best for Tuesday. I will be back with a preview of those games and predictions. Also, it's that day for Reading fans. Monday, it's the League One playoff final between, yes, Oxford United and Wycombe Wanderers. And one of those clubs will join the championship by the next time you get a video off me that's not the League One preview video I'm doing. The next championship video, I will be welcoming one of them into the championship. And I won't lie, I know which one I'm hoping I say. So enjoy the video that's coming up, guys. The preview for that final, do watch it. And then I'll also be doing the predictions on Tuesday. So take care, guys. Thank you for watching and enjoy your weekend. Take care.